Hello everybody, welcome back to Gyanan. In today's video, we're going to be looking at the fourth day of 30 days to a more powerful vocabulary. Words for mature minds. There are words in this world of ours that can be understood by only those who have lived and become mature. No explanation, no definitions could make them clear to a child. Here is such a list. Vicarious, asceticism, rationalize, pander, gregarious, sublimate, obsequious, wanton, maudlin, effete. The understanding of these words takes a certain amount of emotional maturity, and unless you have had certain experiences and emotional reactions, you can have no comprehension of such words as these, because you have had no need for them. You might find it hard, perhaps absolutely impossible, to explain the meanings of these terms to a 12-year-old boy or girl. But you, an adult, will be able to comprehend them and to make them your property. Let's discuss them one by one. Here and there, we will give you the etymology of the word. If its history is interesting and happens to throw any light on the present day meaning. Number 1. Vicarious. This is an abstract word, but it is one of that is easy for the grown-up mind to grasp. For example, there are two ways to travel. One, by buying a steamship ticket and going to your destination, say Havana. The other, by reading travel stories or travel circulars about Havana. In the first instance, you have enjoyed your travel experience directly. In the second instance, you have enjoyed it vicariously. A child is learning about life when he pretends, when he plays the store or house or doctor. Of course, he is fully living a life that children do. But he is also living an adult life, not directly but vicariously. And owing to his emotional immaturity, he is not ready at his age to grasp the difference in thought and effect between actual lives and vicarious living. When he is older and more mature, he will live less vicariously and more actually. And then he will be able to appreciate the significance of the word. You as an older person will recognize that you are escaping from the real world and are living for the moment of vicarious existence and are having vicarious joys and sorrows when you are reading a book. You're living not your own life, but the lives of the characters of the story, and the shop girl who haunts the movies can. For the time being, become the lovely, glamorous heiresses to whom the hero makes the passionate love that she would like to experience herself. The screen is offering her a vicarious thrills, substitutes for adventure, romance, travel, love. She is, for the time, living vicariously. As an interesting sidelight, a vicar, who is a petty officer or assistant priest in the Church of England, has delegated, but no direct authority. Like vicarious, vicar comes from the Latin word vicarious, vicarious, and both of them have inherited the same character of indirection. Number 2. Rationalize. You as a human being tend to rationalize. So do all of us. There are selfish men, for instance, who will never give anything to charity. They don't wish to regard themselves as selfish. However, they prefer to think that charity is harmful to the poor and demoralizes those who receive it. In this way, the miser can save his money and his face at the same time. He is rationalizing his selfish act, and the rationalism makes him feel better. Rationalization makes him feel better. In similar fashion, a father who is angry may spank his boy merrily to relieve his own personal feelings. But in self defense, he will rationalize his actions by making himself believe that the spanking has been done for the good of the child. The term rationalize has a number of meanings, but the most common one refers to the process of thought by which one justifies a discreditable act, and by which one offers to oneself and the world a better motive for one's action than the true motive. Number 3. Gregarious. This term comes from the Latin word grex, meaning a flock of cattle. And cattle like to stay together. If you're gregarious type, you are a friendly person, a good mixer. You like to be with other people. That is, you're extremely sociable kind. Because you're gregarious, you enjoy parties, crowded at theaters, and dance floors. You like to be where folks flock, in small or large numbers. Because people are gregarious, they get married, have families, living in thronged cities, sing, and play together. A hunger for love, friendship, and a feeling of kinship with other human beings is a normal and common human trait. It is a gregarious instinct. Number 4. Obsequious. The beggar, the underling, the lackey, and the flunky all tend to be obsequious. Those who wait on others in an inferior capacity and whose lives and jobs depend on the whims of their masters are apt to be cringing and fawning. They're often excessively, sickeningly, and insincerely polite. If your waiter in a hotel or restaurant believes that you're the type who will tip him well, watch how obsequious he will be, how he will bow to you and attend on your slightest wish. If you don't leave the expected tip, his obsequiousness will quickly vanish and he will not secure, follow submissively upon your wishes. Number 5. Maudlin. A maudlin person is the one who is super sentimental and gushing, who cries easily and without much cause. People who are maudlin in their affections usually overdo the act, and their love becomes tiresome and offensive. The word maudlin can also be applied to those who have been made foolish and silly by too much drinking. Here, incidentally, is an odd word history. Mary Magdalene, who washed the feet of Christ, has often been pictured with her eyes red from weeping. As the centuries have gone by, the proper name Magdalene has been contracted into the adjective maudlin. Ascetic. The ascetic is the one who is given to serve, self-denial, and austerity, and who practices rigid abstinence and devotion, often to a religious cause. When you say that a man is an ascetic, you mean that he is one who shuns all the luxurious pleasures of life. Anyone who eats and drinks heartily or otherwise dissipates is the precise opposite of an ascetic and does not believe in asceticism. Number 7. Pander. This verb literally means to minister to the gratification of the passions and prejudice of others, usually to one's own profit. Many confession stories can be said to pander to the baser emotions. The yellow journals and the sensational press often pander to a love of crime. The ruthless dictators pander to the lowest instincts of the masses, to their selfishness, cruelty, and greed in order to gain power. Pander, therefore, is an unpleasant word with an unpleasant meaning. The noun panderer has a still more restricted meaning. The frequently significant signifies a man who procures women for others, just as Pandarus, the leader of the Lycians in the Trojan War, is said to have procured the lovely lady Chrysis for Troilus. Sublimate. This English word originally came from the Latin word sublimatus, which means raised on high, and is closely related to a word sublime. Sublimate is, in its figurative sense, means to refine, to purify. Sometimes, when the energies of the bad boy of the neighborhood are diverted into athletic games, or into a business career, or into some other channel of useful work, his former destructive activities are then said to have been sublimated. Again, psychologists tell us that lust and rapine, or the wish to persecute and kill, are often merely indications of excess energy. The majority of such people can be taught to sublimate these desires and passions in creative activities. This is sublimation in its highest and the most useful form, used in the sense of original Latin word sublimatus, raised on high. Number 9. Wanton. This old Anglo-Saxon term has many definitions, but when we say he is a wanton man, we usually mean that he is a man who is living without restraint of appetite, especially one who is lecherous, lewd, lascivious, and lustful. Number 10. Effete. When animals, plants, or soils are worn out and incapable of producing, they are called effete. Latin ex, out, fetus, having produced. More commonly, through this adjective is applied to man and to mankind. When, therefore, you are speaking of ancient Rome at the time of its fall and you characterize it as an effete civilization, you naturally mean that it was a civilization that was degenerated and completely worn out. Now we want you to make these 10 words your own possession and property. Below in the column on the right are 10 dictionary definitions of the words just discussed in this chapter. They are not given in the order in which they appeared. Take your pencil and try to fit each word to its proper definition. Number 1. Tearfully sentimental. Number 2. Catering to evil desires. Number 3. Preferring the company of others to solitude. Number 4. Spent, exhausted, barren of energy, worn out by rich or effortless existence. Number 5. The practice of extreme self-denial. Number 6. Enjoyed by one person through his sympathetic but indirect participation in the experience of another real or fictional person, substitutional. Attributing one's action to rational and creditable motives without an adequate analysis of the future motives. Number 8. Servilely intentive, fawning. Number 9. To direct energy from its primitive and destructive aim to one that is culturally or ethically higher. Number 10. Unchaste, lewd, so licentious, marked by arrogant recklessness of justice, of the feelings of others, or the like, also having no just provocation, willfully malicious. Here are the answers. Number 1 is maudlin. Number 2, pander. Number 3, gregarious. Number 4, effete. Number 5, asceticism. Number 6, vicarious. Number 7, rationalize. Number 8, obsequious. Number 9, sublimate. And number 10, wanton. Keep your pencil ready. This is a workbook and a word game book, and we want you to write in continually. The only way that you can gain ownership of the new words is by using them. Now take the following 8 words and change them into other parts of speech according to the instructions, and be as sure as you can in each case that the resulting sentence makes sense. Change vicarious to an adverb, as to travel dash. Change rationalize to a noun, as you're guilty of. Number 3, change gregarious to a noun, as no one doubts the dash of human beings. Change obsequious to an adverb, as he obeyed dash. Change asceticism to a noun referring to a person, as he is an. Change pander to a noun, as he is a dash to the greed of others. Change sublimate to an adjective, as his dash passion gives power to his poetry. Change wanton to a noun, as the dash of the Oriental is proverbial. Answers are 1. Vicariously, 2. Rationalization, 3. Gregarious, 4. Obsequiously, 5. Ascetic, 6. Pander, 7. Sublimated, 8. Wantons. From your work so far with these 10 words, you should have fairly good idea by now of how they may be used in sentences, even if you may have met some of them for the very first time. Test yourself. Without referring to the list on the previous page, try to fill the required words in the sentence that follow. Note that any one of the several forms of each word may be needed. Better use your pencil. The merely physical act of writing a word down will help you to fix it in your mind. Number 1. Marry is to dash to be happy without friends. Gregarious. The waiter bowed dash to every wealthy customer who came in the restaurant. Obsequiously. His dissipated life has sapped his ambition and health and made him a effete. The motion pictures was so sickeningly dash that most of the audience left in disgust. Sickeningly maudlin. Mothers feel a dash pleasure in their children's accomplishments. Vicarious. Be honest with yourself. Don't try to dash your bad motives. Rationalize. He lived in a life of an dash for the abhorred self-indulgence and enjoyed solitude. Ascetic. The dishonest politician dash to the greed and thoughtlessness of the mob. Panders. Some say that all great art is a dash of the primitive instincts. Sublimation. She led a fruitless, dash uncontrolled life. Wanton. Remember this, once an adult has finished his school, he rarely adds more words than 25 new words to his vocabulary each year thereafter. Already in one session, you have at least increased your knowledge of these 10 words, even though you may have met them before. Therefore, whenever you add 10 new words to your vocabulary, you will have done almost as much as most people do it in 6 months. Be sure that you keep these words. Can you recall all 10 of them now without referring to the text? If you can do this, then practice spelling them and pronouncing them out loud if possible. If there are one or two of them that are hard to remember, why not write them down in the back of the book and practice on them from time to time? This ends the chapter 4 here. To be continued. Thank you for watching the video. Like, share, subscribe.